Hey everyone, and welcome back to Tech with Sass, where we make tech concepts simple. So, have you ever wondered how your email filters out spam, or how streaming services like Netflix know exactly what movie you would like to watch next? So, the magic behind it is machine learning. But we heard about this term machine learning, right? But do you know that what exactly the various ways by which machines learn? So here you can see on the screen, right, we have four types of machine learning methods or ways you can say. So first one is the uh, supervised learning. Second is the unsupervised learning, and third is the semi-supervised learning, and fourth is the reinforcement learning, right? So now in this video, we will use simple examples and basically from real world to make sure that you understand these terms at high level in a very simple manner, right? So now let's see on the first one, which is supervised learning, right? So, I mean, the easiest way to think about that this is like a learning with a teacher. So, and suppose you have a teacher who have many flashcard. Okay, for example, the flashcard here we can see that they have some label data, which is about the animals like cat or dogs. So, for each image, we have it is as labeled. Okay, so now algorithm understands a particular image because we have already pre-processed it with the labeled data. So and we train it right with that labeled data and the trained model, right? So once we have some model, some mathematical model, right, from function, and we train that with this labeled data which has the label for each data set or each image, then when it predicts, right, suppose a new image comes up as an input, it's able to predict, okay, whether it is a dog or cat, okay, based on the previous learning from this pattern. Okay, so here basically, uh, and in nutshell, what we are doing, we are feeding the data which is labeled to the algorithm, so it understand and make a correlation between the images or data with those labels, and then when it encounters any data which is unlabeled, it is able to predict the correct one. Okay, so other examples like which we can think about, like you have this spam detection, right? So in your email service, we get like millions of mails, right, on the mail server. So once we categorize them in like or label them, right, spam or not a spam, that can be called as a supervised learning because when that email data set is fed to the algorithm, it knows, okay, what kind of email will most likely be spam or not a spam. Okay. Another example which you can think about is the house price prediction. So from the housing, I mean from the yeah websites like which have the housing data, we can get, okay, for which location and for what size, okay, and what type of house we have, what price, right? So with the various features of house, we can find the price tag attached to it. So then that data become a label data for algorithm, and then based on that it can train the algorithm, and once we give input basically a new house as or its features, right, can predict the correct price, right? So basically in a nutshell, so whenever we have data which is labeled, so that is basically about the supervised learning. So now next we have the unsupervised learning. Here, you can think about, for example, the previous one, right? we took example of a teacher with a flashcard. So teacher has a various flashcard, right? And each flashcard has some label. But here you think about a detective, right? Detective is somebody who is trying to find out the clues by its own. There is nothing to help with finding the correct prediction. I mean, correct label. So here, detective basically start with something like a unlabeled data. So here you can see we have this pool of animals which has various images, but nothing is labeled. So now the algorithm is going to see all the images and identify the natural groupings or the patterns, right, on its own without any prior labels. And then algorithm will try to define the clusters based on their similarities. Okay, so the main difference from previous type of learning is basically here the data is not labeled, and algorithm tries to group or cluster the images or data based on its own and depending upon the features of the data. Okay. For example, like you can say, you can think about like, imagine you can see like someone hands you a box of different fruits, right? You haven't seen before. So what you can do, you can start sorting them into piles based on their color, size, and shape, right? So that will be called as a kind of a unsupervised learning. Other examples, for example, we can say like services like Netflix, Spotify, so what they do, they'll group you with the other users based on your taste of music. Okay, so ultimately what they do, they make clusters of users, might be who like the pop music or who like the Telugu music. Okay, so that is basically a kind of a one example. And another example is like a based on the basically this online site, right? Amazon and all, they can categorize you on particular based on the particular purchasing habits, right? So what purchasing habits you have, based on that they can cluster you for their marketing campaigns. Okay, so now uh, we have understood both the initial one. Now let's see. Suppose uh, you have the massive data at your hand, right? But only some of data is labeled. So here you can see in the image, right? Some animals has been labeled, but most of them are not labeled, right? So this is basically a semi-supervised learning where when we have a huge data set, some data is kind of labeled, but other is not. So here also, basically, it is kind of a doing clustering and try to find out the labels of other unlabeled data, right? So ultimately, the focus is to cluster the similar images, and based on the available labeled data, it is trying to label the unlabeled data which is available. Okay. So, but this is like a very expensive and time consuming, because if you have a lot of data available is not labeled, then it's like you're going to be requiring a huge computation power. So few examples like you can think about like a suppose you have some photographs, right? And in some photographs there are some labels. Okay, maybe you labeled few of your friends, but others are not, right? So now other unlabeled photographs, the algorithm will try to label based on the information you provided or based on the pattern it is trying to guess. Okay. So now next one is the reinforcement learning. So I mean this is all about learning through trial and error. So like teaching a dog a new trick and playing a video game. Okay. So like now, for example, when you play video game, you start some at some stage and then you lose it, right? So next time when you start that I mean that you restart that game, right, okay, what mistakes you will avoid. So basically, this kind of a learning based on the rewards and the penalty. Okay. So for example, suppose you think about a agent, right? Agent, somebody like a robot or some game character. That agent will have an environment and it does some action. So for each action, whatever the action it is doing, whether that action is a good move, then it will get a reward, and if the action is a bad move, it will get a penalty. So when an agent is moving towards a correct prediction, it is going to get a reward, and when it is going towards the wrong direction, it will get a penalty. So by this reinforcement learning, it is able to learn, okay, about whether I mean what is exactly the best strategy to get the maximize the record, I mean the reward, right? That is the whole example. For example, we know about this self-driving cars, right? So when cars AI is rewarded, right? So, for example, if a car's AI is staying in the proper lane and doing and following the safe direct driving decisions, right? It is kind of a rewarded in the algorithm's point of view. But if there's like over speeding or jumping the traffic lanes, traffic lights, right? So that is basically it will be penalized. So this is how the algorithm will understand which actions are good and which actions are not good to be like more perfect in prediction. So now we have understood these four types of machine learnings. So let's quickly summarize each of them. First one, which we learned, was the uh, supervised learning, which is basically learning from the labeled data. So, like students with a teacher, and here we basically label all data that is fed to the algorithm, and it is able to find out the exact mapping with the kind of data which it gets. Second is the unsupervised learning, where data is not labeled, it is unlabeled, but algorithm tries to find out the patterns which might be hidden, and also it tries to find out the natural groupings. Based on that, it is able to train the model. Third one is the kind of a mix and match of first two, which is the semi-supervised learning, where it has some data which is labeled, but most of it not. So by that labeled data and the pattern matching, it is able to train the model. And and the last one is basically the reinforcement learning, which works on the trial and error, like the rewards and the punishment mode. So when algorithm does the correct prediction, it gets some reward, like a our penalty when it is not able to predict, right? So like a video game mode where you play a game and you get reward, right? And you also get penalty when you lose. Okay. So that's it. These four key types of machine learning. Hopefully, I tried to simplify it in a very easy manner. I hope this gave you a much clear picture of how AI works all around us at a very high level, right? Definitely, to understand more, you have to go deeper. And now, so don't miss out on more videos where I make tech concept very simple for you. And if you have found these videos helpful in any way, please hit a like button and share it with your friends. And most importantly, subscribe, and please also ring the bell, okay, so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching Tech Process. See you in the next one. Thanks a lot.